NYYST.
Holla, why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, now hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bets. Cause we know where we at, we know we top tier. Cause all the hate that you bring, we know it stops here. I'm taking off like a rocketeer and stopping here. It's strange how they cannot see the future but see profit here. Wait up, we gon' always win. Promise that that's not a promise, yeah, that is a threat. You know that I promise to bring the team commas.
Welcome back. This is episode 467 of the NYYST podcast. We're live on NYY Underground. I am your host, Christian, and I'm with my co-host, Sem.
What's up?
What's up, bro? How you feeling?
Mediocre.
You look mediocre.
You are mediocre.
Yeah, I don't think so. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna ignore the hurtful things that you said right before we signed on here. After I saved your life, not once, not twice, but 3 times over the last 37 years. But you know, we can ignore all that. You want to be, be fresh and say bad words. You know, it's okay.
Don't tell my mom.
I already texted her,
Real nice.
and she responded, Jason, in all caps.
That would be her.
And I can hear it in my brain about exactly how she said it too. Jason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then my wife had to name my son after me, so now I get to do it too.
Well, we all know that's your own. We don't have to get into the reason why your son has the same name as you, but that's your fault.
No,
It's completely your fault. Yeah,
No,
it is.
It's not. It's not.
One day,
Nope.
if we ever see anybody at another event, we'll tell the story. It's not a for-air story, but it's your
No.
fault.
No, it's not my fault.
No,
It's her
totally. Okay.
It's that
Well,
lady's fault.
Debatable, but not my aunt wasn't the only one yelling Jason. We were all yelling Jason on Wednesday night when Jason Dominguez put one into the Bronx Knight to walk off the Texas Rangers. It was another good week of Yankee baseball here. As last time you heard from us, we recorded after Game 2 of the Subway Series. So the Yankees have been on a 4-game winning streak since our last episode. And you're like, wait a second. You guys recorded after Game 2? That's why you have to be subscribed to the NYYST podcast on your favorite podcast platform. I can't hammer this home enough. We don't want you guys to miss any episodes throughout the course of the year. We will have and have had audio-only shows throughout the course of the year. We don't want you to miss anything. Please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And if you have done so already, then also leave us a 5-star rating and review. We can't tell you how much that helps us. And tell everybody NYYST is the official Yankee podcast of Odyssey. And if you're in the chat tonight, live here on the U, like this video and subscribe to NYY Underground if you haven't done so already. The Yankees are on a roll right now. In the last 14 games, they're 11-3. They are playing a really good brand of baseball right now. We weren't exactly happy with the Yankees with the way the game unfolded on Saturday afternoon when they lost to the Mets. But, they went out there on Sunday and got it wasn't vintage Max Fried, but Max Fried did what he needed to do to go out there and get a W. And I really like the competitiveness and the aggressive nature of Max Fried, especially when he was facing a certain left-handed outfielder, which we're going to get to in a minute here. And then the Yankees took care of business against the Texas Rangers this week, swept them, and the Yankees are going out to Colorado to face an 8-win team. So I fully expect the New York Yankees to be on a 7-game winning streak come Monday. Okay, now that's not touching the money. That's not, being braggadocious. The New York Yankees are in first place. They're 11 games over 500. They have aspirations of going to the World Series again. They are facing an 8-win team in Colorado this weekend. There is no excuse, especially when Max Fried is taking the ball in one of these games. There's literally no excuse for the New York Yankees to drop any of these games against the Colorado Rockies. I'm sorry, I'm going to be extremely upset with them if they do, because this is part of your schedule here where the Yankees have to continue to stack wins, because this road trip is going to get a little tricky here, because they just came back from the West Coast where they played well. They went 4-2, came home and then they went 5-1 on this homestand, and now they're back out west. Now, good thing about that is they don't have to go back out west again for the rest of the year to get it all over with here in the in May. But you're playing an Angels team that is spunky. They took the series from the A's here this past week, and the Anaheim in that stadium always gives the Yankees fits historically. It doesn't matter how good the Yankees are and how bad the Angels are, they've always had issues playing out there in Anaheim. So things can get a little tricky. And then the tail end, the very last leg of this 9-game, 3-city road trip here, they're facing the defending champion, LA Dodgers. So things could get a little tricky for the Yankees at the end of this road trip. That's why it is so important for them to take care of business against the Colorado Rockies and just annihilate them and let everybody enjoy a nice Memorial Day weekend here while the Yankees are out in Colorado.
Taking care of business. Got this song stuck in my head. Sure. I like it.
Okay, well, your wife just texted me and she said that you signed the birth certificate so and with several O's at the end. Okay.
Speaking of
So,
my wife,
oh, here
we're
we go.
gonna start taking a collection, because every time my wife goes on a business trip and then comes home, there's a monumental, crazy home run hit. So the first time she went on a business trip, that's when I think Judge broke 60. She just got home yesterday. We had just gotten home from Newark Airport, and Dominguez hit the walk-off. And the last one she was on, she came home that day, was another home run. So I'll take donations. She's a good luck charm.
If you say so, okay. You said your wife is a good luck. You said your wife is a good luck charm. Okay.
Yep.
Did the Yankees lose one of those games though? I believe they did. The last trip she went on this year. You said she walked in on a home run, but then they ended up losing.
Did they?
Yeah, I think so. Because you're like,
Probably.
oh look, Judge hit a home run, and then they ended up losing.
Eh, I don't know. My brain's not working. I've been on daddy duty for a week.
Okay, daddy
I'm
duty.
I'm just here
Is
to
that
listen.
maybe Aaron Judge is on daddy duty?
Maybe.
Because Aaron Judge, I mean, this is our Aaron Judge minute here, sponsored by the NYYST podcast. Um, he's been struggling a little bit here. He's on the struggle bus, and by that I mean in his last 7 games, he's only hitting 308 with a 996 OPS.
Yeah, I mean his batting average dropped down to 395. Like, what a piece of garbage. They should bench him.
I mean, that's just how remarkably good Aaron Judge has been this year, that he is struggling right now and hitting 308 in the last week. That's a struggle for him. I have no idea, and I have no idea why this dog is under my desk with his head on my lap right now. I have no idea what he's doing. Creed. What? Does everybody want to meet Creed? I'll get him out over here. Say hi. There he is. Say hi, Creed. Does that have anything to say? No. He gets shy around big crowds. Now he's gonna, and there he goes. So that was our Aaron Judge minute. Just to goes to show you that he hasn't been like peak Aaron Judge this week. And he's still hitting 308, and people are worried, saying he's in a slump right now. I mean, if you're in a slump hitting 308, that just goes to show how amazing your season has been so far.
Yeah, and then you go into a slump and your overall batting average just dipped below 400. He's the greatest.
So I have to just talk about how much I love Aaron Judge. I gotta let the dog out of this room before he keeps crying.
Wait, I love Aaron Judge. He's the greatest. How about Yorbit Vivus? How about all that stuff? I have watched about an hour and a half of baseball this entire week. So you're gonna have to really help me out here today. Let's go. There you go.
Did you say anything of substance while I was gone?
Yeah, I said that I've watched about an hour and a half of meaningful baseball this week, and you're gonna have to really help me out.
Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't see one pitch of this game today. It was just strictly Dave and Susan slash Gamecast type of day here. The Yankees did win this game 1-0. Jorge Vivas with his first major league home run, and Carlos Rodon did Carlos Rodon things again. And we'll kind of really start. Jesus Christ Almighty, I can't get comfortable now either. This is going to be a wild show here tonight. We got barking dogs. Jason's been on daddy duty, hasn't been able to lock into the games. I can't get comfortable in this friggin' chair, but we'll get through it. We always do here on the NYYST podcast. So Carlos Rodon again today was just outstanding. 6 innings of shutout ball, 8 Ks. That's in his last 7 starts. Carlos Rodon is 5-0 with a 1.48 ERA. He's only had once really kind of so-so outing, and that was I think 3 starts ago now when he gave up those 4 runs. But we've talked about it, how he got to the finish line once the Yankees got him the lead. They overcame that hole that he put them in early, settled in, and then he got him to the finish line. Carlos Rodon is doing the things that we wanted to see out of Carlos Rodon for the better part of 2 years now. And I think Susan Waldman said this on the broadcast today, that a big factor for Carlos Rodon's resurgence here in 2025 is he's not so predictable anymore. Carlos Rodon got through the early part of his career being a 2-pitch pitcher. And if you're going to be a starting pitcher, you need other weapons other than 2 pitches. He was a fastball slider guy. And this year, he's really incorporated that changeup and that curveball, and it's made him less predictable. And the other thing that Carlos Rodon has done in a 7-start stretch here is he's not giving up mistakes. You know, you remember that game against San Francisco? We recorded right after that. He gave up the 2 home runs to Lee. And that game got away from him because of the mistakes that he made. He has not been walking guys, and he has not been making mistakes. And Carlos Rodon is pitching like the co-ace number 2 that we've been waiting to see since he signed here after the 2022 season. Now, I've come on this show numerous times and said, I don't trust you, but I'm starting to believe in you. I'm starting to really believe in Carlos Rodon. And I am withholding some of that trust because I've been burned by this guy so many times in the past. But now I'm really starting to believe. And maybe this is me having to believe this because the Yankees desperately need somebody to ride with Max Fried right now. And there might be another guy coming up and riding with Max Fried here, and we're going to get to him in a minute as well because he's been sensational his last 3 starts, and I think there's a reason for that, which we'll talk about in a second. But Carlos Rodon is finally morphing into the guy that we needed and we expected when we signed him a couple of years ago. And honestly, I don't go into his starts anymore expecting him to shit the bed. I don't go into these starts anymore expecting Carlos Rodon to projectile vomit all over the mound like he was known to do. What I'm expecting now out of Carlos Rodon is Carlos Rodon to go out there and shove to the level that he's been doing over the last 7 starts, where, as I said earlier, he's got a 1.48 ERA. The guy has been fantastic, and we knew Max Fried was coming here, and Max Fried had a job to do, and he's even exceeded what your expectations were for him, which is awesome because, like we talked about how many times, is how many guys come here to New York and exceed expectations right off the bat. He's done that. And now Carlos Rodon is settling into being that number 2, that guy that we can rely on. And can he burn us? Yeah, he probably can. But you know what? I'm ready to get hurt again by Carlos Rodon. I'm ready to let him break my trust in the sense that I'm believing in you now, Carlos. I'm believing in you and your ability to be the co-anchor of this staff and lead the Yankees not only into October, but deep into October. And those expectations that I placed on you now is because of the way you pitched. You have allowed Yankee fans to believe in you the way that you've went out here this season and pitched and stepped up in the absence of Garrett Cole. And it's been great to see. It's been fun to watch Carlos Rodon pitch. I have not said that once in his entire tenure here as a New York Yankee, but I'm all for the Carlos Rodon resurgence, and the Yankees absolutely need it, and it's coming at the perfect time.
I mean, cautiously optimistic, letting your guard down. It's a good way to feel about Rodon. You're not anxiety ridden when you know he's taking the mound. Like you said, you're not expecting him to projectile vomit all over himself as soon as he gets out there. He's been putting it together, doing what he's supposed to do. This is the Carlos Rodon that we've wanted to see. So, I mean, I don't need any more out of him. I just can't have any less out of him. This is what we need. Steady throughout to the end, through the postseason. We need and I watched today. I just watched loosely. I had it in the cup holder of my truck while I was driving through Passaic. And from what I saw, he was pitching pretty good. He got into trouble at one point, but it was a bad call that turned into a walk. And he got out of the inning anyway. Obviously, with no score. So I mean, Carlos Rodon, it seems like he's clicking on all cylinders. He's doing what he needs to do, and I'm here for it. I think it's a very it's an awesome thing to see at this point, especially when we went into the season being very like ugh. For him to turn it around, and it eases your mind somewhat.
Absolutely. It is nice to see that you have two guys in this rotation that you expect to win when they take the mound. Obviously, being Max Fried and now Carlos Rodon. And I have not said that once about Carlos Rodon his entire time here, is that I expect the Yankees to win when he takes the mound. I now expect the Yankees to win when he takes the mound. He has put enough of a body of work together this year where he has changed my expectations for him. And like I said, I can get burned by this. We all can get burned by this, but this is the guy we've been waiting for. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time. He came here in 2022, after the 22 season into 23, maybe he was a little out of shape. He said that himself. He was hurt and he was just very ineffective. And last year, the ERA was, under 4, but I didn't love what I saw out of him last year. And we even saw that Jekyll and Hyde act in the playoffs where he was really good and then he was really bad. He was really good and he was really bad. And I think he's settled into something here because even early on in the season, we've come on here and said he's such a Jekyll and Hyde pitcher. You don't know start to start, inning to inning. But man, for the last, 7 starts, that's almost an entire, it's like a month and a half there. He's been a completely different guy. He's been a guy that we have not seen take the mound in a Yankee uniform. This is a completely different pitcher than the Yankees have had up until this recent stretch. He has found something and a new level of confidence. And I can't keep stressing this. When you lose Garrett Cole, somebody's got to step up. Somebody's got to replace the ace. Now, Max Fried is being the ace, but who's replacing what you needed out of Max Fried? And right now, it's Carlos Rodon. He has accepted the challenge this year. And I got to say, I'm excited for it, and I'm happy that he's done it, man. Because he's been a guy that whole 2023 season with the whole blowing the kisses to the fans and turning his back on Matt Blake. This could have been a complete and utter disaster where that we couldn't wait for the clock to tick 0 on that contract. So all the credit in the world goes to Carlos Rodon at 32 years old because you say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. This dog has learned new tricks. He's learned different ways to get guys out and be a more effective and complete starting pitcher. So everything, all the credit in the world goes to Carlos Rodon. Now, if he goes out there and gives up 8 runs in two and 2/3 innings in his next start, I'm going to be pissed because I'm wasting 20 minutes of showtime here praising the guy. But he deserves it. He deserves every bit of praise that he's getting right now because I'm telling you, I did not expect this run that he's been on here recently. And now I'm expecting this run to continue. Now, obviously, a bad start's going to creep up here and there because no matter how good you are, you're going to have bad starts along the way. But it's negating the damage, limiting the damage, keeping the team in the game, and not letting a bad start turn into a bad stretch.
I was just going to say the same thing. I was going to say, you can't be mad at him if he goes up and he gives up eight runs the next game because it's inevitable to happen. It's not the next game, it might be the game after that. The way he's been pitching, I think he earned at least one bad game, and that's just baseball and that's the way it's going to go. So we're going to jump all over him the next time he screws up. No, I think he's earned it where we need to cut him a little bit of slack at this point because he's being that workhorse for us and he's doing what he needs to do. I mean, I'm a big Rodon ridiculer. I don't know how to really describe that, but I pick him apart all the time because he came here. He was supposed to be the next best thing, and he's been anything but this season, he's given me everything I want. There's been one or two shaky starts towards the beginning of the season, and we were like, and then he's pulled his big boy pants on, and he's gone out there and he's done what he needs to do. And he is being the number two. That's what he was brought here to be. He's being the number two. Max Fried stepped up, and Max Fried is the number one at this point. So Carlos Rodon's doing his job. You can't ask any more of him than what he's doing. He's winning. He had 6 innings pitched today, 8 strikeouts, and only 2 walks. I mean, he's cutting down on the walks, it seems like, and that's his biggest area of struggle because then that's when he always gives up the big hit and they score 3 runs on 1 home run. As long as he's not putting people on base, he's limiting the damage that can be done. There's really not much to complain about.
So Carlos Rodon is stepping up and doing his part to carry the Yankees rotation and be another guy that you can trust. And is Will Warren also doing that? We've been waiting. I've been waiting actually, for Will Warren to put it all together. And when Francis was here last week, we talked about Will Warren, and now Will Warren's got another really good start under his belt since Francis and I talked about him because he pitched on Monday, and Will Warren. Sorry, the Yankees were off on Monday. He pitched on Tuesday, and Will Warren went out there, and Will Warren threw 5 2/3 of shutout ball where he struck out 10 guys, and his season ERA is down to 4.05. Now, in his last 3 starts, Will Warren is pitching to a 1.50 ERA in 18 innings in those 3 starts. Will Warren has struck out 26 batters in 18 innings. You know what else he's not doing? Walking people. He's averaging a walk a start, 3 walks in those 3 starts, and he's allowed 3 earned runs. Will Warren has been sensational in these last 3 starts. He's really looking like a guy that has an idea out there, and not so much an idea. What Will Warren has is a lot of confidence in his stuff right now. Okay. And for Will Warren, I said this last year, watching him, that I always thought he had the stuff to be a good major league pitcher. Now, what's good, a guy that can settle, to me, was always a guy that can settle in nicely to being a solid number 3 on a rotation. I didn't say that he was going to be an ace or even a number 2, but I always thought with his stuff, if he could put it together in between the years, he could be a guy that you can be a very reliable number 3 on a staff. And over these last 3 starts, Will Warren, like we said, 26 Ks in 18 innings. That's ridiculous that he's just going out there and balling, and with this incredible stuff that he has, striking guys out. He's throwing more strikes, as evident by the 3 walks in the 18 innings. And I think a big reason for this is because Garrett Cole has been around the team more in the last couple of weeks. Since Will Warren has been on this run here, we've seen a lot more Garrett Cole around the New York Yankees. And there's was an interview with Will Warren in the Athletic, I believe, today, and this is an excerpt from it. We, meaning Warren and Cole, talk in the training room. We talk in the weight room. When he has a break from what he's doing, and I have a break from what I'm doing, it's just, hey, I saw this, or hey, I looked at this. Whenever we have free time. Warren said most recently he spoke with Cole about executing his pitches and how to throw fewer big misses and make more competitive pitches. Even if they're balls, Warren said, did they do something? Did they change the hitter's eyesight? Is he now looking over their stuff like that? Garrett Cole has changed Will Warren's outlook on pitching, and he's made him a better pitcher. This is a big reason of why, if any, that I said I wanted Garrett Cole around this team more often than we had seen him earlier, because we saw Garrett Cole last year unlock something in Luis Heel. We all remember the video when Cole was showing him how to break his hands. And then that's when Heel really turned it up and went to another level. And now you got Garrett Cole in there telling Will Warren to be more competitive with his pitches, even if it's a ball. Make it do something to the batter. And we've seen Will Warren do that over these last 3 starts. So, yes, Will Warren you have to have the natural ability to be able to do this. But Garrett Cole being there and instilling this confidence in him and teaching him how to be a big leaguer, I mean, that can't be understated right now, because it's turned a guy that you wanted to turn the TV off when he came and took the mound to a guy that is striking out. And I get it. The Rangers their offense is complete ass. I mean, we all know that. But it still takes a really good pitcher with really good stuff to have a 10 strikeout game in the big leagues. And a lot of that credit has to go to Garrett Cole.
Yeah, like listen, he looks more comfortable again. Like, same thing with Rodon. The same thing with Warren. You get comfortable in your position, you're going to start doing better. I mean, he came up. Wait, he came up last year for a couple games. It was 1 game, 2 games, something like that. Comes up this year. Obviously, there's a big hole in the there's a big hole there by Cole not being there. His position got that much bigger. And no one knew if he was actually going to get called up and he was going to be in the starting rotation to begin with. So when you start off the season, you start off rocky. I mean, I personally didn't really make too much out of it because I didn't really expect him to start pitching really good until halfway through the season. I'm happy that he's turning it around already, you know? So if Cole's there helping him out doing that, they need to keep Garrett Cole in that dugout that much more often because he's an important person. He's helping develop a player. And if Will Warren keeps putting it together, he's going to be an awesome pitcher again. And it makes our starting lineup that much better when you're missing in a season where you're missing Garrett Cole and you're getting this type of production out of Will Warren. If it's sustainable, it's a home run. You want to replicate that again when Heel comes back up. And if we have a starting rotation of Will Warren pitching the way he is, Carlos Rodon pitching the way he is, Max Fried is just forget about it, and all of a sudden it looks like a season where we were like, oh, this is gonna suck, goes to, oh my God, like we could really do this. This is a very formidable team. Again, it's this is anything but boring baseball. This is exciting baseball, and just the way that the Yankees are turning things around and putting things together, it's almost not Yankee-esque, it's just fun baseball.
Fun baseball, okay? But 3 starts is a little bit of a small sample size, but I'm going to believe in it because I advocated for Will Warren last year. I always said I'm a Will Warren guy. I saw a guy that could be a really good major league pitcher, and my former co-host argued with me a lot about that. And I'm not saying it because if I feel like I won an argument, but also because it benefits the Yankees. The Yankees, anytime that you can have a young, controllable starting pitcher that is going out there and performing to the level that Will Warren has over his last 3 starts, is obviously an advantage for the organization and the ball club. Now, obviously, you want to see him start to string together 5, 6, 7, 10 of these starts in a row. Or if he has a bad one, quickly erase it and get back on another streak, like we said with Rodon. Even if, Rodon can go out there and get bombed in his next start, but then if he rattles off 7 more great ones after that, you're not worried about it because that's just the nature of being a starting pitcher and a really good one. So it's about limiting damage. But that the whole quote that he gave about Garrett Cole gives me reason to believe that he has, and here's the Boonism, turned the corner here, because I always felt that he was afraid to attack hitters. He was afraid to challenge hitters in certain instances, and you saw that a lot last year, and you saw that during periods of this season. And now I think Garrett Cole's instilled some confidence in him to say, you are a big leaguer. You have the stuff to get big league hitters out. It's okay to waste a pitch, but make it do something. Be more competitive. And we've seen that over these last 3 starts. It's got to continue, obviously. I always say this, like we can always be having a different conversation in a week. But for right now, it seems like the Garrett Cole effect has had a big effect on Will Warren. And you start to see this rotation come together a little bit here, where we know what we have in Max Fried. And now we talked about Carlos Rodon and Will Warren, and Clark Schmidt is here. And even Ryan Yarborough has been a friggin' godsend. Everybody made fun of that. I'm telling you, I would say about 95% of the comments when the Yankees announced that signing on their official X account were mocking the New York Yankees. And I always sat there and said to myself, I've watched Ryan Yarborough be a pain in the ass to the Yankees for years. Well, you know what? Now he's taken over the 5th starter spot. How much more confident do you feel in him than when Carlos Carrasco was taking that 5th starter spot? How much better do you feel about this rotation now than you did even 2 weeks ago with the way Rodon is pitching and Will Warren and Ryan Yarborough? That's why the Yankees are 11-3 in their last 14 games. They're getting excellent starting pitching every single night. Even when the Yankees lose, it's because they made a mistake here offensively, or they're just not hitting. They lost that game to the Mets 3-2. When's the last time you can really sit there and say the Yankees got bombed, where they had no shot in any game? Their pitching keeps them in most games. Even that game where Rodon gave up those 4 runs, they overcame that. They lost because, Cruz just didn't have it, and Cruz is on the IL, by the way, now with shoulder inflammation. He doesn't think it's going to be a long time, which, who the hell knows what that really means, because these are the Yankees. We know their timetables for things. But I completely lost my track of thought. See, but the Yankees overcame that. Their offense overcame that shaky start from Rodon, and Rodon then got them to the finish line. When's the last time you can sit there and say you were truly disgusted by a start that a New York Yankee starting pitcher had? And it was probably the last start that Will Warren had before he went on the streak when they lost to the Rays, where he got hit around. The Yankees have been on a really good string here because their starting pitching has allowed them to be on a really good string here. And, that's only going to improve at some point when Luis Gil comes back. Because we got to also remember, we're talking about how good Ryan Yarborough has been, and the other 2 lefties, and Warren finding it. Clark Schmidt's been solid. He hasn't even fully put it all together yet either. But even in all that, he's still pitching pretty well. I think we got to give a lot of credit to the Yankee starting rotation, which I got to tell you, and if you listen to the show, I was really down on coming into the season. No Cole, no Gil. What are we really getting? We didn't know how good Max Fried was going to be, and what are we really getting out of the rest of these guys? And now that we got Stroman out of here, we got Carrasco out of here, these other guys have stepped up. And Max Fried's elevated his game. Carlos Rodon has elevated his game. This starting rotation has been excellent, and they're on a real hot streak right now. And it's allowed the Yankees to get themselves to 11 games over 500 and build a nice little lead in the American League East. And it's been a lot of fun to watch, because like today, crappy day outside. You only need 1 run to win. When's the last time you felt that? I couldn't even remember all the time I had the last time the Yankees won a 1-0 game, or that if the Yankees grab a 1-run lead, you feel pretty good that you're going to get home with that. That's just where the bullpen is right now, and that's where the starting rotation is right now.
I'm just going back and I'm looking over the different scores, and there's a handful of games where the Yankees have lost by more than two, and those were just high scoring games in general for the most part. Like every loss has been by one run, 1 or 2 runs for the most part. I think it was like one blowout, and I was more towards the beginning of the season. But the Yankees pitching it's keeping them in the games. They're not falling so far behind, and even when they do, they seem to claw back, and then they get within a run or two. Uh, the Yankees pitching really has been. It's just like it was a when Cole went down, I think we were all a little bit nervous about the starting rotation. I know we all thought we had a pretty good bullpen going on, but I I didn't expect that. I figured maybe Will Warren would be able to piece it together by midway through the season. I think he's still been a little bit wishy-washy. He's showing a lot more promise early on. Uh, what the hell? Cookie Carrasco was a big thing. Obviously, they let him go. And then Yarborough's taken over for him. So, he's settling in good, and they're all just doing their part. Nobody's leaving you there where you're like, well, you're an asshole. Everybody's doing their job. It's obviously, look, it's a team effort, and they're all being a team right now. The bullpen's still been A plus. They're handling it. Cruz, obviously he was having a little bit of trouble, but now he's on the IL. So maybe that's the reason why he was struggling in his last few outings, whatever. Uh I missed Loazica yesterday. I didn't really get to see him pitch. I only caught like one of the last at bats that he was in there for. But then you're watching. I think he gave up a home run, right? Was it him that gave up a home
It
run?
was
Then
Hamilton.
Hamilton, he gave up the home run. And you're like, ugh. So when Judge tied it up and then Dominguez hit that home run, that was such a sweet way to win. But the bullpen's been solid and the starting rotation is like this is exactly what we've wanted. We don't need a bunch of a whole lineup of all aces and all Garrett Coles and Shohei Ohtani's. Well, he doesn't even pitch, so or what I'm saying, like you're doing this with a guy fresh out of AAA, a guy that's had a shitty past 2 seasons. Yarbrough really hasn't. Has he been? I don't. He was on the Rays? As he was.
He was on the Rays, but he was let go from Toronto's camp this year.
So like these are it's like a mixed match of just pitchers put together that are just going
Yeah,
out there and
Loazica was a little shaky yesterday, as Scott points out, but I mean, it was his third start back from not pitching in like a year and a half. So I mean,
it's more like 3 years because he pitched a year and a half ago. How many games did he really pitch for he went out again anyway?
exactly. So I mean, it's to be expected, and he's going to eventually be a massive weapon for the Yankees. Because I mean, if you look at the back end of this bullpen with the way Luke Weaver's throwing the ball right now, and I told you that that was a big release for Devin Williams when he struck out Bogarts with the bases loaded in the 10th inning against the San Diego Padres, and the Yankees won that game with a Scar walk-off sac fly. He has not given up a run since then. He struck out Pete Alonso on Friday night, and I said he broke the curse of the polar bear. And today I caught uh, one of those changeups he's threw was just. I mean, I don't even have words for the way that pitch moved. It was just dumb.
Yeah, it's wild. It's like it looks like he's throwing a wiffle ball bat. A
He's
wiffle ball. Yeah,
ever since he let that out, he's been a completely different guy on the mound.
absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely.
and honestly, if I'm Aaron Boone, I don't get cute now. Don't fix what isn't broken.
No.
Devin into Luke is working right now. Luke into Devin was not. Leave this alone. Maximize your players. And Luke Weaver is thriving as the closer to the Yankees. Devin Williams is thriving as the Yankees setup man. Don't mess with it. Okay? I don't care. Devin Williams will get paid no matter what. It'll be more money than he can spend in a lifetime. Okay, if that's what your concern is, somebody was saying like, "Oh, the Yankees have to put him back as a closer because no,
You have to do
win,
nothing.
win." Okay, he failed epically as a Yankee closer, and the Yankees made a move, and now this is working. He's found something in the eighth inning, and Luke Weaver is pitching to what, a .4 ERA right now. I mean, don't
He's filthy.
I'm not touching. I'm not messing with this. I would have been perfectly happy with Luke Weaver being the closer to start the season. The Yankees went out there and got Devin Williams. I'm obviously not going to be upset about that. It didn't work. Now this is working. Leave it alone. Don't get cute. Doesn't sound like Boone's going to get cute, but these are the Yankees. And we always say smarter Yankees. The Yankees, no, nope, don't ponder this. Unless Luke Weaver goes out there and he starts giving up bombs left and right, and you feel like because Weaver is struggling, you want to make a change, which I don't think is going to happen because Luke Weaver is just that guy. You don't make a move for the sake of making a move here. You let this play out here, and then you put Loizica in the seventh, and then Cruz when he comes back in the sixth. I mean, you just shortened the game right there. Ian Hamilton's a bum. Get him out of here. I'm tired of looking at him.
Yeah, he's
I was a
goes
big
from
Ian
the
Hamilton. I was a big Ian Hamilton guy
Terminator.
here. But you know what? Something's not clicking with him right now.
No, he does not look like what he had been coming in, all looking, can't see my eye, and then I don't know.
He looked like the Timu John Cena.
Timo John Cena. That's funny.
But now,
Yes.
but now, he is performing like a toy that you would buy a Timu. He's just falling apart seams here. And before I have a couple of other stats written down here, which we'll get into here. I actually did some homework for this
You
show.
know, I got a question for you. What has Pete Alonso been doing since
I don't know. Do you have
Devin
the answer in
Williams
front
sat
of
him
you?
down? I just wanted to say it seems to me that
Well,
Devin
Pete,
Williams broke Pete Alonso.
no, Pete's been in well mentally maybe with the some of the throwing errors that he's
Well,
had
that's
because
what I'm saying. Have you watched those highlights? Because they're just comical almost.
well, yeah, I pay attention. I always pay attention to the Mets, and I
Oh,
especially pay attention to the Mets when they're playing the Red Sox. I mean, thanks for being completely useless, Mets, losing 2 out of 3 to the Red Sox. We're gonna close out the show with the Mets, so stay tuned here, and
the
then
Mets.
this will be the last time we ever mention this on this show ever again. But what I really liked about Wednesday's win was it took 3 guys to step up late in the game with big hits. Okay, the Yankees fall down 3-1 in the seventh inning, and then Cody Bellinger bangs that home run, gets it to 3-2, and you're like, three. But what you did there with that home run is you let the Texas Rangers know that we're still in this. You stopped their momentum, and you put yourself back into the game with that home run, right? And I picked this date specifically because Cody Bellinger hit a home run on 420, and I think he's got a streak of hitting home runs on 420. I don't know how many years it goes back, but of course he does because he's Cody Bellinger. Okay, but since 420, now mind you, it is today's what, the 22nd of May, so this is over a month now. Cody Bellinger is hitting 308 with 7 home runs and a 958 OPS. Sounds pretty good, right? Sounds like the guy that we thought we were getting or hoped that we were getting.
Hope we were getting.
I like I said, I wasted a lot of time on this show with the Cody Bangs thing because that was what I thought he was going to do here. Be a really good offensive player. And for the last month, he's been that guy. He's come up with a lot of big hits. He had the grand slam to ice the game 3 against the Mets on Sunday night. Cody has found it, and he started the season with the back thing, then the food poisoning. Maybe that was just slowing him down a little bit there. Getting acclimated to being a New York Yankee, and now this is Cody Bellinger, 308, 7 home runs, 958 OPS since 420. I'm not saying you got to be that guy, but 280, 850 OPS the rest of the way. I'm signing for it right now because that's who I thought he was going to be. Guy hits 30 home runs. I'm really been happy with Cody Bellinger. I'm really happy that I don't have to sit here and and eat crow for how good I thought he was going to be. A month is not a short sample size, so hopefully he continues this, and we have a nice duo there with Judge and Cody back to back. Although the Yankees keep flip flopping this lineup, but Cody Bellinger's been everything I could have asked for over this last month here.
Oh, he's definitely. Well, we were talking about like who do you play? Do you play Grisham? You play Bellinger? We both said that you need to play Dominguez no matter what. So who do you play? But Bellinger's making the argument now where he should be in maybe over Grisham. And Grisham was hitting over three, and now he's cooling off, and his average is coming back down, and Bellinger's is going back up. Grisham's hitting 267, Bellinger's hitting 257, so they're almost evening out.
The
And
Grisham regression is happening.
yes, and he's gonna hit some. They're gonna put him in there lead off. He's gonna hit some leadoff home runs or something like that. I'm sure it's gonna happen another couple times this year. Hopefully, it seems like he's just getting real lucky, or it's skill, whatever you want to call it. But like he's doing that, and that's great and all. But like Cody Bellinger's an everyday player. When you get down to it, you don't want to, poo-poo on, Trent Grisham, what he was doing. It was great. We want him to do that every day. But reality is he's a bench player, and he's not going to make every start. Cody Bellinger is one of the guys we went out and traded, and he was, part of Plan B for Juan Soto and all that stuff. And, we need Bellinger out there every game making plays. He's an awesome outfielder. No matter which position you're putting him in, he's making great plays. And now his bat's waking up. So now he's becoming that complete player that we needed. This is what's making the team what it is. When right now we just have a problem of like we have a bunch of people who are able to hit and et cetera, et cetera. It's almost a good problem to have. But it's like who do we play? But it's when Trent Grisham and Cody Bellinger are hitting pretty much equal. The obvious answer is Cody Bellinger needs to be one out in the field.
Right. So right now that we see this Grisham regression, you gotta just bench him right now, and he can get a start here and there. Like I appreciated what Aaron Boone did these last 2 days. That he had Judge DH with the weather conditions. That was smart on his part. He doesn't always do the smart thing. Okay, we know this about Aaron Boone, and even after he DH'd him today, I was a little surprised to see Judge DH again today. But I also appreciated that he did that because you don't want to risk anything. Not that you want to get any of your guys hurt, but this season is going to go down the toilet in a heartbeat if anything happened to Aaron Judge. So let's not risk anything. Keep him. It's the Texas Rangers. We don't have to worry too much about. Not saying we don't have to worry about the Rangers, but let's not worry about Aaron Judge getting hurt because of bad conditions out there. So. The other guy I want to talk about here offensively is Jason Dominguez, okay? Because obviously Judge with the big RBI single in the eighth ties the game. Oh, Aaron Judge never gets a big hit in his life. Shut the fuck up. And then Dominguez, obviously, that ball's set up on a tee for him, but plenty of guys can miss that. He cranks it. The Yankees win the game. So what I really liked, like I said, what I really liked about Wednesday's game is that after 3-1, they're down, chip away, chip away, chip away. Three guys chip in with big hits to win a baseball game. And I don't know if the question needs to be asked or if anybody's had this question or brought this up to him, but do you just stop hitting Jason Dominguez right-handed? Because these are his splits coming. I don't have the updated numbers because I use Baseball Reference, and they don't update till the day after. These are his splits coming into today. Jason Dominguez was batting 308 with a 929 OPS as a left-handed hitter. Sounds pretty special, doesn't it? As a right-handed hitter, Jason Dominguez is batting 109 with a 472 OPS.
Yeah. He's a left-handed hitter. There's no I get the advantage of having a switch hitter, but it's not gospel that you need to go right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, and all this shit. Just let the guy hit lefty. Who cares if you go left, left, or right, right,
I
left,
would
or
honestly,
however you do it?
you know what? I would love to see him go take at bats against a left-hander or left-handed because, I mean, he's got double the plate appearances as a lefty. Basically, it's 107 to 52, but I mean, those numbers are drastic. 200 points on the batting average, 500 points on the OPS. I mean, if this is how bad he is as a right-handed hitter, is that he's batting 308 as from the left side, and his overall season average is 236. That's how
Yeah.
bad he is from the right side. His overall season OPS is 562, which isn't bad. It's it's right around league average, maybe a little higher. But that's how awful he's been as a right-handed hitter. He is a guy, and what I really do like about Jason Dominguez, especially from the left side, he puts together quality at bats all the time. Even if they don't result in hits or result in walks, he has an idea up there. He has a good command of the strike zone for being such a young player. I'm really, you know what? I really hope that these numbers start to even out. And Dominguez is a guy that's hitting 265, 270 relatively quick order. That OPS is in the 800s because I think people just look at the overall, they click a box score, they see this and they're like, eh. But he's been so much better than that 236 average lets you on to believe because of how awful he's been right-handed. The guy is a supreme threat with a baseball bat in his hand from the left side. He couldn't hit a broadside of a barn from the right side. So I don't know what the Yankees do. Do they, you know, I don't want them to platoon him. Just especially now with the Grisham regression, he's got to be in the lineup every day. It's just how it has to be. Especially against right-handed pitching, the Yankees should never sit Jason Dominguez against right-handed pitching, okay? Because if Aaron Boone ever sits Jason Dominguez, a healthy Jason Dominguez, against a right-handed pitcher, okay, deport it to El Salvador immediately. I don't want to hear anything. No due process. You're out of here, okay? Done. Because that's a war crime, basically, to sit Jason Dominguez against a right-handed pitcher.
No. No. Again, and this goes to the whole Volpe thing. Volpe's complete ass. He's shit. He can't hit anything, and he's in there against right-handed pitching, left-handed pitching. Doesn't wherever I can't remember what the freaking side he hits from. It's right.
He's right-handed.
Yes, he's right-handed, and I'm just trying to but they're not sitting him. So, what's the difference? You know what I'm saying? Why does Dominguez have to be platooned? Why does Dominguez have to sit?
Well,
Why? You'd let all these other players play. It
we've
makes
had
no
that. We've had that conversation before. The Yankees are, they want the story. They want
Yeah,
the
but they want the
story.
story, but the story should be Jason Dominguez. The guy's the Martian. The Martian has
I
landed.
agree.
All this whole thing. This kid is friggin' when he's hitting that home run game was like they should have sold the shit out of that because it was amazing to see. And his rookie season, he's doing this. Not his rookie season. I'm sorry, but this
No,
is his
it's
first.
technically his
It
rookie
is his rookie
season.
season because
Yeah,
he'll be
he doesn't have the at bats.
yes. So let the kid friggin' play. I get aggravated when I don't see him in the lineup because he's one of the people I'm excited to see. Instead, you tried out this schmuck at friggin' at shortstop every day, who I don't want to see anymore. And
Do
then
you know
you're
that
gonna
coming into
where's
the? Go ahead.
where's
Leave it-
where's my Jason Dominguez bobblehead? No, I gotta get a stupid ass Anthony Volpe bobblehead
Another one.
with a spring coming out of his ass. I don't want to see this shit. Give me some Jason Dominguez stuff. I'm at the point where I'm actually sick of the shit that they shoved down my throat of Anthony Volpe. I don't care anymore. Anthony Volpe's not a major league hitter. He's average at best, in my opinion. He could play a good shortstop, but the guy has errors left and friggin' right at this point. I don't want to see his shit no more. I want to see Jason Dominguez out on the field day in and day out. Give Vivas a start at shortstop. Put Praz at shortstop. I don't care. I just want to see. At this point, I need to see Anthony Volpe benched for at least one friggin' game because he is atrocious. He's an asshole.
Why don't you? Well, whoa. We don't know that.
He's an asshole. He's from Jersey. He's definitely an asshole.
Mm,
The given.
okay. Well, if you put it like that, okay. We don't get personal here, okay? We
He's
just
a
keep.
very nice guy. I met him once. He was very polite, but he still annoys the shit out of me.
Well, you know what? Why don't you tell everybody how you really feel about Anthony Volpe? Okay.
I feel that he's the Timu friggin' Derek Jeter wannabe piece of trash, useless.
So coming into the game yesterday, again, I don't know how these things have changed. Anthony Volpe was tied for the highest whiff rate in baseball on middle pitches.
He's not good. I don't even it's not you know what? I don't even think it's that he's not good. I think he's just in his own head. And if you can't get out of your own head, you just suck. So move on. At this point, he's a hindrance. You can get up, you can have bases loaded. Anthony Volpe comes up, you know it's an out, and it's just a buzzkill, and it just sucks the air out of the stadium, and then you're giving the momentum to the opposing team, and the next thing you know, like how many times has he gotten up with bases loaded and nothing happens, and then we get out, we don't even score a run, and he's the start of it. It's comical at this point.
Oh, well, then you get people on social media to tell you it's a useless conversation. Just stop talking about Anthony Volpe. No, because
How?
this is what you guys, you Anthony Volpe defenders, are
Cucks.
failing to understand. Anthony Volpe could be this player, and nobody would have any vitriol towards him if the Yankees just brought him up and stuck him at shortstop. The Yankees put the hype train behind him. The YPM got behind Anthony Volpe. Okay. When I come on here and tell you that Anthony Volpe was supposed to be Bobby Witt, and people are like, Bobby Witt is generational, blah, blah, blah. Shut your mouth, okay? Because the Yankees told you he was supposed to be the type of player that Bobby Witt Jr. is. I didn't tell you that. The Yankees told you that. Okay. I go around to 20 different ShopRites a week on my route. Okay. When I walk into all of them, they are all advertising tickets for the New York Yankees. Who is on that goddamn poster with Aaron Judge? Anthony Volpe. Okay. The Yankees, and we said this 100 times here, want to sell you the story of Anthony Volpe. This wasn't a plucky young kid like Ben Rice is and just turned into a guy that can hit 30 home runs in a year. He was a top rated prospect. He was a guy that they celebrated, made videos over when they called him up. The, they wanted, this is the golden child. Every time somebody bitches and complains on social media about why Anthony Volpe batting fifth, why this, why that, because he's the golden child, okay? We sat out of this free agent class with Corey Seager and all those guys for him. They made you endure Isaiah Kiner-Falefa for Anthony Volpe. So anytime you have a complaint or disgruntled watching Anthony Volpe play baseball, you know why. I'm telling you why. You're going to have to deal with this for years to come.
He's
And,
they
and
make
it's,
him
go ahead.
they make him part of the face of the franchise. They shove him down your down your throat, and you're not supposed to get upset about it. I look at a lot of me and Christian, we collect baseball cards or baseballs or whatever. We go to signings here and there, and like I equate a lot of this to like how much each person charges. Like I was able to go get Cruz's signature the other day. I wanted to go. I think it was like $60 to go get a ball signed by him. Uh, Rice is $80, $90. Do you know how much it is for fucking Anthony Volpe? It's like $180 or $200. What in the world makes him command that type of price? Because everybody wants you to think, oh, it's Anthony Volpe. He's this great player, and he does nothing. He's not even contributing to the team that much. His offense is abysmal. It's not there. If you tell me that Anthony Volpe ends the season batting 196, I would be like, okay, I'm not going to be surprised because it's just what's going to happen, you know. And you got other tip players that are playing good, and like, look, they're not shoved down your throat, and they don't command that type of price. When I see things like that, I get aggravated. Then when I got to go to the stadium, and every time you turn, they got Anthony Volpe's thing popped up over here or this that. It's just it's obnoxious at this point, and it needs to be dialed back, and he needs to be sat down. They took him forever to sit down Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres gets to sit down, and all of a sudden Gleyber Torres turns it around and starts playing like a good player.
Well, Gleyber Torres got sat down for other reasons. That
Well,
Anthony
yes,
Volpe, I mean, Anthony Volpe, at least he's out there hustling and playing hard, which
I know that, yeah, but like maybe he just needs to be sat down, have a talk with somebody, take a week off, sprain
they're
your
not going to give
ankle.
him.
I don't know. You know what I'm
They're
saying?
not going to
Just,
give him a week off. You know that.
well, I know, but he just needs to. Do I think Anthony Volpe has the potential to be a very good player? Yes, I do. I think the potential is there. I think Anthony Volpe has the skill. Think it's probably mostly in his mind, and that's not an excuse. I don't want to see it. It's old. It's not cute anymore. It's his third major league season. He's played all the games. What, he missed one game last season? He played every game.
He plays every day, which you got to give
you
him
know,
credit for.
but you got to be able to put it in that bat together that's at least competitive. The guy went 3-0 the other day, and he couldn't hold off from swinging at pitches that were low and by his, almost clipping him at the ankles.
Yeah, that at bat against the Mets was just that was so
Like, you
bad.
can't do that. I'm sitting there, I'm saying, then you hear Paul O'Neill saying the same thing or whatever. They're like, he
It
can't
was
lay off
Cone.
it.
It was Sunday night because Cone
Oh,
said you
yes.
have to make the pitcher throw 3 straight strikes. You have to make him prove to you that he can do it. Volpe takes the one right down the middle, 3-0, which you have to do. And then the next 3 pitches are like at his friggin' kneecaps and he's swinging at him. It was just a terrible at bat.
And it's becoming his everyday thing. That's what he's becoming.
What Anthony Volpe has given the Yankees this year is okay. That's fine. If you want to be a cog in the wheel, a player, a person in this lineup, which I have, look, maybe that's who he is. But the reason why this fan base gets upset with Anthony Volpe is because of the Yankees. The Yankees did not tell you that you had a 236 hitter here, a guy that has not had an OPS above 680 or 690. I think was it 6? I don't even remember what it was last year, but it hasn't cracked 700 in 2 full seasons so far. That's not who they told you he was. So it does. I mean, to a degree, like I almost feel bad doing this time and time again because he didn't ask for this. He didn't tell the Yankees, make me the golden child, put me on the posters with Judge. They did that. And again, you can have a conversation about Anthony Volpe's play on the field. You can have a conversation about whether or not you think Anthony Volpe can ever become the guy that the Yankees told you he was. You can have a conversation about whether or not Anthony Volpe is the franchise's shortstop for the next decade. It doesn't mean that you hate Anthony Volpe. It doesn't mean that you are rooting against Anthony Volpe. That is what people that defend Anthony Volpe do not understand. I root for that kid every single day he puts on the New York Yankee uniform. We did show and tell a few weeks ago. He's on my desk in between Garrett Cole and Rocky Balboa. Now, if I hated Anthony Volpe, would he be on the desk here in between those two guys?
No.
But I'm going to tell you like I see it here. I've never come on this show in 467 episodes and been disingenuous and lied about how I felt about anything. I've been right more times than I've been wrong, but I've been wrong, and I've owned up to it in those instances. And right now, this kid has yet to prove to me that he is a franchise shortstop. He's a guy that you're waiting to get to the end of arbitration or waiting for George Lombard or Roger Arias or any of these kids because they are bringing you more promise at this point than what Anthony Volpe has showed you at a major league level. And I hope tomorrow is the day that it clicks in for Anthony Volpe and we never talk about him like this again.
No, I mean, they didn't even call Didi back. They just let him go to the Phillies. They didn't even say nothing to him. It was the
right thing to do.
It was the right thing to do, but that's a fan favorite. And then we get stuck with IKF. There was no in between, right? It went from Didi to IKF, I believe. You know what I'm saying? So we go from a fan favorite, somebody who was actually entertaining. He was always you go look at his Twitter feed.
No, Didi's last year it was 2019. Who was on that team in 2020? Played shortstop for the Yankees in 2020. Oh, why can't I remember this now?
Now it's gonna bother me.
Oh, Glaber. Glaber was the shortstop for
Oh
those
yes.
2 years.
Yeah. So we did that whole experiment. You know what I'm saying? And then this is what they give us, and you just want him to play good. And it's like, listen, I get mad at my kids because I know my kids can do better than what they're doing sometimes, and I act like an asshole and I yell at them, because you want to give them that push because you know that they're better than what they're doing. It's almost not that Anthony Volpe's my son, but like he's better than what he's doing. Let's get there. Let's do it. And not talking from a point of malice. It's just like that you're upset because you expect better, and we were frankly promised better. So he's filling the biggest shoes that you could possibly fill. No one's ever going to fill Derek Jeter's shoes, I don't think.
Well, he's not filling Derek Jeter's shoes. It was almost a decade in between. He was a rookie in 23. Derek Jeter retired
Well,
in 2014.
that's
So that's the Yankees' fault for trying to push that because he's not. You should never make those comparisons to anybody
no.
for anybody.
Oh,
So
it's just
look, man.
it
Go ahead. I'll let you finish your thought.
it just leaves you it's lacking, and it leaves you wanting more every game. And it's just at this point, like I said, it's very frustrating to watch that day in and day out. You almost want him to go up against one of the shittiest pitchers in the season in the league and just go friggin' ham on him, and maybe he'll get some of his confidence back. Because I think that's just, like I said, I think that's what a lot of it is. He's just trying. Same thing with Jazz Chisholm. They try and they want to. It's not going to happen. Well, settle in, get things right, and it'll come together and it'll happen. That's where it needs to go.
Devin in the chat said he brings up his swing path needs to be flatter, and it's true. He doesn't need the uppercut. He doesn't need the launch angle. Line drives, get on base. You want to be Derek Jeter? What we need you to do is hit like Derek Jeter, and not even you don't have to be a career 300 hitter. Be a guy that slaps the ball the other way, finds gaps. That's
Yeah,
when you. That's how you're most valuable to this team. The Yankees don't need a shortstop that hits 35 home runs. We need a shortstop that gets on base 35% of the time and steals 30 bases. That's what they need.
and then we hear all this shit about the torpedo bats, yet no one's hitting anything with a torpedo bat anymore. So that's all we heard about for the first month of baseball. And look where that's gotten us.
So, I didn't think we were going to talk about Anthony Volpe today, but Jason's got a hard on for him. So, I don't get in his way. Do you feel better now?
A little bit. He's been pissing me off, and
All
I
right.
do feel better now.
All right. We're going to end the show on this here. So we're going to talk about the Mets, and we are. I said earlier on this year in the off season that we were banning Juan Soto's name from this podcast just because I got tired of talking about him, and then we were skirting around how to bring him up without saying his name, and then I lifted the ban because in the off season we had to to talk about bring up Juan Soto because it was a big talking point for the Yankees in 2025 about how they were going to navigate not having Juan Soto. Now, offensively, the Yankees haven't missed him. They haven't missed a beat at all offensively. Like, let's be honest here. They haven't.
They're better without him.
What I'm going to do now is after this segment concludes and I sign off, we are reinstituting the ban on saying Juan Soto's name on this podcast. It will be lifted, on our pre and post shows heading into that series in July because it'll be relevant again. But bringing up anything that we're going to talk about now or what his effect or non, him not, it's done. We're done and we're over with it here. And now we're a few days past this, but this is the first time I'm getting the opportunity to speak about it on the show here. And I want to use my platform that we've built over, since 2017 to talk about this here. And, Met fans think that the Yankee fans are believing the quote fan fiction or the Yankee propaganda. Look, I'm not going to come out here and tell you that I think Juan Soto is miserable because he regrets not being a Yankee. But what I can confidently tell you, and I don't know how many Met fans listen to the show, maybe some do, but what I can confidently tell you is that after watching Juan Soto play 180 games roughly for the Yankees last year, that the guy in Queens is not the guy that played for the Yankees last year. It's not the same guy. Why did he stop doing the Soto shuffle? Okay. Why does he not have that same joy and enthusiasm playing baseball that he did last year? He is a different person. Like I said, I'm not going to come on here and tell you that he's regretting his decision because I don't know. The guy's getting paid $50 million a year to play baseball. He's getting, all these perks. How could you be miserable, right? But the Mets don't have the Yankees Juan Soto. They have a different version of Juan Soto, okay? That's not Yankee propaganda. That's not fan fiction. That's fact, okay? Because I'm not one of these Yankee fans that don't pay attention to the Mets. I watch more Met baseball than probably the average Yankee fan does because I like to watch baseball, and I'm too lazy to turn on the MLB package that I pay for. It's just easier to flick back and forth to the Mets when the Yankees are in commercial or watch the Mets when the Yankees aren't playing, okay? It's just easier. I like watching the Mets, especially when they're good, because it's good baseball, right? And I've especially taken more interest in what the Mets are doing because Juan Soto's there. And it's not to root against Juan Soto. I've been a fan of Juan Soto since he's come up. Obviously, I am a huge fan of Juan Soto after what he did for the Yankees last year, and I have a rooting interest in Juan Soto. I'm not rooting for him to fail. This is not fun for me to watch Juan Soto be as miserable as he's been lately. It's not fun for me as a baseball fan. It's not fun for me as a Juan Soto fan. It has nothing to do with being a Yankee fan. I want to see that guy in Queens. I do. The only time I'm rooting against Juan Soto, it will be that July 4th weekend when he's playing the Yankees again, because I root against everybody that plays for the Yankees. But I want to see that guy in Queens, man. I do. I think it's good for the sport. I think it's good for my entertainment to have that guy there. Juan Soto's in a bad position right now because he's not living up to the expectations of a large contract in New York, and he's in the crosshairs of the media right now. He's the enemy of the back page right now, and that's not a good position for any New York athlete to be in, especially one that just signed the largest contract in the history of Major League Baseball. And when everybody and their mother in this town watched this guy shine and was electric in the Bronx last year, that's not the guy in Queens right now. And Met fans can crash out, which they're doing, and tell us that we are being babies and we're just jealous. No. Listen, man, I'm not jealous because I'm telling you right now, because you brought it up, we are better without Juan Soto. And I cannot believe that I just used airtime on this show with those words coming out of my mouth, because I was very adamant on this podcast when people like Jeff Passan said, well, maybe the Yankees are going to be better off without Juan Soto. Because right now, for the 2025 season, which is what we can grade this on, the New York Yankees are better without Juan Soto. Paul Goldschmidt is hitting .330. Cody Bellinger is doing what Cody Bellinger is doing. And Max Fried is a legitimate ace. Him and Tarek Skubal have to be the front runners for the Cy Young so far right now. And all of those guys combined are outperforming what Juan Soto would be doing for this Yankee team right now. If you subtract Max Fried from this team, and I can't tell you that the Yankees are 11 games over 500, 5 games in first place right now. I can't tell you that, honestly, because until this stretch, the Yankees were under 500 in games that Max Fried didn't start. And this offense is the best offense in the American League. They have the third most runs scored in all of baseball without Juan Soto. So I can't tell you that this is a better team subtracting Fried, Goldschmidt, and Bellinger than it would be with just Juan Soto, because I don't believe that right now. And honestly, like I said earlier, some things I'm right about, some things I'm wrong about. As of right now, of May 22nd, this is one of those things I was wrong about. This Yankee team is much better put together and getting more contributions from more different areas without Juan Soto.
Yeah, no, listen, like we say this a lot, but like, if you told me that the beginning of the season that at the Subway Series, Jeff McNeil was going to be the pain in the ass of the Yankees and not Juan Soto, I would have laughed at you. This entire series, what did he do? He did nothing. I think his
He
first
went
at
one
bat,
for 10.
yeah, so he walked his first at bat, and then what he stole, he got the third. Did he score? Is that how I'm trying to remember, but that was really his contribution. Like you said, there's no Soto shuffle. He's not eyeing up, like, staring down the pitcher. Like, all the stuff that I didn't want him to come to the Yankees for because I didn't like it when he was on another team. But then when he came to the Yankees,
But that made him him.
you love it really fast, especially when he's producing and he's helping your team out. And then to see him come to Yankee Stadium and play like that, and just his whole demeanor, it was almost sad to see. It is does he regret it? I don't know. I seriously doubt he regrets like $800 million in private jets and clothing allowances.
Okay,
I think
Boomer.
that's
He's not getting the private jets, okay?
listen. Okay, whatever. I listen. All the things he's getting, I seriously, seriously doubt he's regretting his decision. But he doesn't look happy. Is it that he got paid and it don't matter no more because it's guaranteed money? That could be it. I don't know. But when you say that that is not the Juan Soto that was playing in the Bronx, that's now playing in Queens, that is hitting it on the head. Something changed. There's something about him. He is not the same player. He's not the same person. He's nothing like what he was. He was electric when he was here. Watching him play, it almost wanted to make me go to sleep. Something's up. I would love to know what it is. I'm just like you. Listen, I root for the Mets. I'm not one of those people that hates the Mets. If they're a New York team, I don't. There's no New Jersey baseball team, so New York's my home team. If the Yankees aren't in it, I want the Mets to be in it. That's just the way I look at it. And it sucks to see. I really want to go. I was talking to one of my coworkers today about maybe trying to get a bus together and going to City Field because I've never been there. I've always wanted to go there and trying to watch the Subway Series there. But like, it's nuts. It's so crummy to watch that, and you want him to do good because you want that. It's fun to have that rivalry, as aggravating as it gets to be, especially where we live and how close we are to both stadiums, and it really is like a big mix of Mets and Yankees fans around this area. Sometimes it comes to a head when you're arguing with people. It's really fun to have that rivalry, and I don't know. I just don't feel that it's there, especially, that's their what, 15 years they got to deal with that. Right now, that's not looking like it was a very good deal. He's got plenty of time to turn it around, but
Oh,
a
yeah, I
big
mean, he's
deal
got a
like
lot of
that,
time to turn it around
but
here.
a big
And
deal like that, you got to do it your first year. You got to, it's put up or shut up. But maybe
the
that's not.
parallels are there. His first year with the Yankees, they played in Houston opening week, the first series. Same thing with the Mets. His first year, bang, they're in Houston. What's he doing on opening day for the Yankees? He's, getting big hits, throwing runners out at home. What did he do on opening day for the Mets? He struck out to end the game.
Yeah,
I mean, that right there, you can look at that. Met fans that want to argue is like, oh well, 804 OPS, that's him being bad. That's what you're paying $50 million for? A guy
yeah,
that's a
you're not.
bad game away from not even having 800 OPS. I'm telling you, Met fans. I understand him, and you got to stick up for this guy, and you got to shove it right in their face right now because hey, you wanted this from the second that the Yankees traded for Juan Soto last year. You were up our ass. Well, we're going to sign him in the offseason. We're going to sign him in the offseason. And you did. And he's been terrible. Okay, you can tell me 131 OPS plus, blah, blah. That's no. Stop. Time out. That's not what you're paying for. You're paying for a guy that I fully expected that was going to rise up this past weekend and hit 4 home runs and kill the Yankees this
Yes.
weekend.
Yes,
He was a
100%.
a non-factor. He looked scared out there, man. I've never seen that look in Juan Soto's eyes last year. Not once. This is a guy that, with the game on the line to send the Yankees to the World Series, had the at bat of a lifetime. And Brian Anderson with the call, Juan Soto made for the moment. You don't have that guy. At least not right now. You don't. So Yankee fans aren't just like blowing smoke up your ass and trying to needle you and troll you and believe some fan fiction, as they've been. That's a word, that's a phrase that's been thrown out here this week. You know, with what Bob Clappish and Michael Kay have said. I don't need inside sources to tell me what my eyes have already told me. He's not the same player.
No.
It's not the same guy. And he, you know what? Excuse me. He was having a rocky so-so start to the year, coming into the Subway Series, and then yesterday it got really bad. First two at bats against Garrett Crochet. He looked at all 7 pitches, struck out twice, and some of those pitches were right
Yeah.
down the middle of the plate.
Yeah.
When does Juan Soto ever do that?
Or not hustle the bases. That's a big thing. And then when he's asked about it, he's like, you could watch the video. I did hustle. Like, no, you didn't. You like Gary Sanchez did.
So, you wanted to say that he tried to play it cool with the tipping of the cap and a couple of other things that he was playing around the right field. That broke him over the weekend. It really did. Because this is a phrase that's been brought up a lot. There's still a human inside that uniform, which is true. Juan Soto got unconditional love from this fan base last year, from the Yankee fan base last year. We let him know from the moment he stepped on the field at Yankee Stadium that we loved him and we wanted him to stay here. And he left. I don't hold any ill will towards him. He did what he felt was best for his family. But you can't come back to Yankee Stadium and think that the fans are going to accept you with open arms. I'll always love Juan Soto for that home run. I will. I'll say it 100 times. But I honestly expected no different, to be honest with you, as much as I would have liked other scenarios to play out. I expected no different. He took the field in right field to a hero's welcome. It was almost like that the fans last year forgot about Aaron Judge, forgot our own homegrown superstar, our all-world elite hitter here that's probably going to the Hall of Fame in his own right, shattering records left and right. Forgot about him to show this guy love, that we love you, we want you here. And he fed off of that and had a career year last year. That's not the guy that's playing for the Mets right now. So as Met fans can deny that, but you're the ones that are delusional. You're the ones that believe in fiction. Because I know for a fact that Juan Soto is an exciting, energetic baseball player.
He's an entertainer.
He's an entertainer. He exudes joy. When you watch Juan Soto, you see a guy that loves playing baseball. Well, the Juan Soto that played for the Yankees anyway. And until we see that guy in Queens, everybody has the right to sit there and question what is going on with Juan Soto. Because he's not the same guy. I'm sorry to break it to you, Met fans, and I'm telling you this. I'm extending this to you. I say this with no malice or ill will. I hope Juan Soto starts tearing the cover off the ball again, except for those 3 days in July, and is the MVP candidate he was for the Yankees. But he's not there, at least not right now.
Yeah. He didn't get moved down in the order when he was on the Yankees, and it's only going to get worse with Pete Alonso slumping. It's only going to be harder for him.
So that is it. That wraps up the conversation. His name is officially banned from this show from this point on, okay? Except for this next sentence that I have to bring up because I have to say this. Boomer Esiason is one of the worst people in the entire world to listen to for baseball takes. He truly is. Okay? Now, did he wrongfully get ripped by national media for just basically repeating what Karl Ravitch said on the broadcast about the private jet? Yeah, he did. But he also, I don't feel bad for him because he deserves to get ripped for his baseball takes. Because on Monday morning, he decided, or was it Tuesday? I forget what day it was. My days get jumbled up. But one of the mornings they were talking about this. He decided that he was going to double down on the fact that the Yankees never actually wanted Juan Soto, that it was just a dog and pony show to appease the fans, to say, hey, look what we did. Double down on it. Because he said this in the offseason, and he said it again this week. I mean, you could not be stupider. You honestly could not have a more stupid take than that the Yankees did not want Juan Soto back, that it was just an act for the fan base. They put $760 million in front of Juan Soto. You don't do that for show. The Yankees thought they were signing Juan Soto up until late in the evening on Sunday. You don't walk around the winter meetings telling everybody we're confident about this for show. It took one more phone call with Boris and Steve Cohen, a phone call that you don't know that that's going to happen or not. We all kind of figured that Cohen was going to give the last, push there. He was going to be giving it to him. But believe me, Boomer, because I'm way more in touch with the Yankees than you are, I will listen to you day in and day out and do so, with utmost respect when you talk about the NFL. But for baseball, you don't know a goddamn thing, my friend. You have no clue what you were talking about. And I've heard bad take after bad take, especially regarding the Yankees from Boomer Esiason over the years. And the fact that he went on his radio show again this week and doubled down that the Yankees didn't really want Juan Soto is absolutely and utterly ridiculous. Dude, some people in the Yankee front office are probably saying it's a good thing he said no to us. Yeah, I don't doubt that in the slightest. Are there people in the Yankee front office, like I just came out here and admitted, that said that we're better off without him based on the way this 2025 team is constructed? Yeah, I don't doubt that at all either because I said it. But to sit there and say that the Yankees didn't really want him back, just honestly, you should just retire at that point.
I love me some Boomer. I don't like Gio.
You agree with that statement?
I agree with what you just said. I just like Boomer. He could do no wrong in my eyes.
Honestly, I do think Boomer does a good job on that show when he doesn't have to talk about baseball.
I just when you drive a truck as much as I do, Boomer's become part of my life. I listen to him from 6:30 to what time they go off. They go off at 10 o'clock Monday through Friday.
They're the only sports talk show I still listen to because Sal and BT have become insufferable because they're two alphas that just yell at each other the whole time.
Yes, my show, our show.
And then Tiki and Evan, I don't know. It just doesn't. Evan was ruined the moment they put him with Craig. They ruined that goofy sports nerd personality that he had.
I liked Evan and Joe. I love Joe Domingo. Domingo, I was gonna say Domingo.
Evan is not a barstool guy. He's not like a bro.
Yeah.
That's not why people liked him.
Well, and when Evan was like Rafael Devers is Garrett Cole's daddy, and that's in the whole thing when they play, I just turned me. I like Tiki. I know you don't like Tiki because of that whole Eli Manny thing, but I still like Tiki.
I was not. Look, I got a lot of respect for Tiki Barber as a Giant fan. I was just even when he played, I was never a huge Tiki fan. Like it was just not like one of my guys. Like you have certain guys on the team that you love and you gravitate. I just never did with Tiki. I don't know. I was just. It's not that I hate him. I think I ended up getting picking up a patch auto of his because it was a nice card and I thought it would be cool to have in my collection.
I like half of all of those shows, just half. I don't like the other half, so that's my whole issue. Sometimes I just turn them off and I start listening to other stuff. But
So if you have one more point to make about Juan Soto, you do it now and then banned. Okay. Are we done?
now I'm done talking about him.
Banned. Okay. Done. The ban hammer is down. I've decreed it. And what I would also decree here is that if you have not already subscribed to the NYYST podcast on your favorite podcast platform, please do so. We will be doing an audio only show this weekend to talk about the Rocky series, which should be hopefully a massacre on the Yankees' part here. Honestly, I said this to open the show. I would be really disappointed if the Yankees don't sweep, and I would hope that at least a couple of these games are blowouts here. We need to have a nice, easy Memorial Day weekend against a really bad team. The Yankees are 11 games over 500 right now. Excuse me. They are 30-19, while the Rockies are a staggering 8-42. Okay, 8-42. You're 30-19. They're 8-42. I get it. You're flying almost across the country, but come on now.
I think they're gonna be like the worst team in
I think they're
MLB
outpacing
history.
the friggin' White Sox from last year.
Or like there was like the team that were the Spiders or something like that in like the 20s or something stupid, and they were the official worst team ever. I think that the Rockies are gonna be the worst.
But we got Clark Schmidt on the mound at 8:40 tomorrow. And then on Saturday, 4:10, we got Max Fried. And then to wrap up the series on Sunday, it's 3:10 with Will Warren on the mound. And the two pitchers that Colorado has listed, they have no pitcher listed for Friday night, but tomorrow they have a pitcher, or excuse me, Saturday, a pitcher with an ERA in the mid fives. And on Saturday or Sunday, excuse me, they have a pitcher with an ERA of 6.34. I mean, can we please just take care of business this weekend? Am I asking for too much with that? I know they're on a 4-game winning streak. They're on an 11-3 streak right here, but come on, let's be realistic here, okay? So as we said, please subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform. While you're there, leave us a 5-star rating and review. And if you've been in the chat tonight for this show, we want to thank you so much. Like this video, subscribe to the U. Tell everybody NYYST is the official Yankee podcast of Odyssey. I want to thank everybody for their continued support of NYYU and NYYST. And thank you very much for listening and watching episode 467. Sem, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, shake me like a man, let it drip.